What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Optimize You podcast. Today is part one of a two-part series where we're talking about effective goal setting, not just goal setting, but effective goal setting so that you can actually keep your results. Let's get into part one. All right, so today is going to be a two-part series. Today's going to be part one, and we're talking about effective goal setting, not just goal setting when January 1st comes along, but how can you actually set goals so that they stick this time, so that the percentages or likelihood of you achieving them are actually a lot higher. So let's dive into it. So there's some common traits, there's some commonalities, there's some common characteristics, there's some common habits that both I've learned and that I've learned through my clients that have been more effective than not. The percentages are way higher than when you don't apply these. So we're going to talk about it. And this is going to be a two-part series. So the first part one, is going to be about how do you set your goals properly? How do you set them effectively? The mistake that I see that most people are doing is they're setting a surface level goal. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to have more energy. I want to look better with my shirt off. I want to be in better health. That's one that I hear a lot. Those are all great things. There's nothing wrong with those goals, but they're too surface level to be able to go through the bumps in the road that are required to be able to get to where you want to go. It's too easy to give up because there's no stickiness to that goal. It's very surface level. It's very almost as if you heard somebody else say it and so you thought it would be cool, so you wanted to make it your goal too. That's the kind of stickiness that it has to it, which is virtually nothing. So how do we make that a little bit more tangible? How do we make something a little bit deeper? And a great exercise that I encourage everybody to do is to actually find what you truly want. What do you truly desire? And the way you can do this, because a lot of times it's hard to think about those things when you have the influence of other people, when you have, other people's opinions affecting your decision making, potentially affecting your decision making, which makes it hard to admit what you truly want. So phase one, step one is figuring out what you truly want, what you truly desire, not what somebody else thinks would be great for you, not what you think would be a cool idea or convenient if all the stars aligned, but what's the thing that's a non-negotiable where you're like, I want that thing because, and you can fill in that blank. And if you're not quite sure, here's a great example on how to do it. If you do find yourself making one of those surface level goals, I want to cut out sugar. I don't want to drink as much caffeine anymore. I want to limit or eliminate alcohol. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to get in better health. There's nothing wrong with those goals, but it makes it very difficult. The percentages drastically drop when that is your goal because it's so surface level that the second you face your first speed bump in that process, it's enough to throw in the towel because you really didn't want it anyways. So you didn't have an attachment to it. It was just kind of like, I'll do it out of convenience. And if anything becomes, if my schedule gets a little too hectic, it wasn't that crazy of a goal. So it's okay if I give up on it, just like I've done for the past however many years or decades. Right. So if you actually want it to stick this time and you are in that group of like, I'm tired of setting these okay or shitty or mediocre goals and then falling short of them and just feeling like, oh, well, I might as well try next month or I'll try next year. Right. And we're in that boat. If that's you, this video is going to be perfect for you. If you really don't care, then you can skip this. You can skip both part one and part two. This message isn't for you at all, right? But if you actually give a shit and you're like, how do I attain this goal? How do I get it to stick this time? How do I get to keep my results, right? Some of you have trouble getting the result. Some of you don't have trouble getting the result, but you have trouble keeping the result. So this goes for both of those crowds. If you want to become better at this process, this is going to be perfect for you. So number one, establish what the want and desire is specifically for you. Not your parents, not your family members, not what your coworkers are doing, not what your best friend's doing. And a great exercise to do to figure out what you truly want and what you truly desire. I'm going to give you, it's a two-piece here. One is if you were to write your ambitious goal down on a piece of paper and nobody would see it. Matter of fact, you could burn it right after so that really, like if you hit it somewhere, like there's no chance of somebody going to find it. What would you write on that piece of paper that you'd want to achieve going into this year, or just in general that you've been wanting to achieve? Maybe you've attempted it, but you failed it, or maybe you're scared to attempt it in fear of what other people may think. What's that goal? I want you to write that goal down on that piece of paper. and imagine right after, immediately, you can actually do this if you want to. Once it's written down on paper, just burn it so nobody can find it. So you're not embarrassed about it, or you're not fearful about it, or you're not afraid of getting judged by others. But that's the goal that you want to set. It's going to make you feel uncomfortable a little bit. You almost feel like you're not deserving of it. Like, that's the one I want you to write down. That's way different than I want to be in better health. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to eliminate sugar. I want to give up alcohol. Those goals don't mean shit, right? Those are very surface level, no depth to them, very little, if at all, stickiness to them. So it makes it very easy to give up. And it's no wonder why people give up so often on goals like that. It's not to say that those goals are bad. Those can be the top tier of the goal. Those can be the surface level. But if you're not peeling below and looking below the surface, looking at the bottom part of the iceberg, you're just looking at the tip. You have to be able to dive deeper than just looking above surface level. So the second part to this exercise is, once you've written it down, you can continue to write down and chunk it down further by asking why. So if I write down, I want to lose 20 pounds. Why is that important? Keep asking yourself, why is that important? Well, if I lose 20 pounds, I'll have less knee pain when I'm walking around and playing with the kids outside, and I won't be out of breath, right? Okay, cool. That we're getting somewhere. If I lose the 20 pounds, I'll be able to be a little bit more mobile. I'll be able to move a little bit better, and I'll have more energy so I can play longer with the kids, so I don't have to make up an excuse that I can't play with them anymore because I'm literally exhausted. Now we're getting somewhere. If I lose those 20 pounds, my spouse will start looking at me with a desire, with a sexual desire that I haven't seen or I haven't felt in I don't know how long. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay. So now you're putting substance to that surface level goal, and keep chunking it down. You got to get all the way to the core. Keep asking yourself why until you'll know when you get to that deep surface level why. Sometimes you might get emotional about it. You might cry, and that's totally fine. That's actually encouraged. If you can do that, if you can get emotional in this process, that's how you know the percentages of it sticking this time are going to be way higher than your goal of just cutting out sugar, than your goal of just eliminating alcohol, right? Again, there's nothing wrong with those goals, but they have no substance to them. So just to recap, write down your goal that is a true desire and want. And how do you figure that out? Well, you first eliminate the judgment of others, knowing that after you write this down, you have the opportunity to burn it. So nobody could ever find it. Nobody could ever see it. You don't have to share it with anybody. You just have to bring it to the forefront in your brain, in your mind. You have to put it and sink it into that subconscious level, so that when it does get hard, not if, but when it does get hard, you have the ability to persevere through, because you've stacked and chunked those whys down and got to the core. And now you're playing a totally different ball game, and your ability to stick through it this time is going to be extremely different than when you just picked I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to be in better health. I want to eliminate sugar. So give that a try. Hopefully that'll help, and you guys will have to let me know. So this is part one. We literally just establish your true want, your desire why, write it down, continue to keep asking yourself why you want the thing, writing those answers down until you get to the core. Sometimes it'll spark an emotion in you. That's a good thing. Just because you're in an emotional state when you're goal setting doesn't mean that's a bad thing. It's actually a phenomenal thing, because now you're down at the root level. You're down at the seed that you're planting. And that's exactly what we want. Now your ability to do the thing that's necessary, regardless of how you feel in the process, is going to skyrocket, because it actually means something to you. You have substance to it. Okay, so tune in for part two. We're going to actually talk about what to do next. So after you have that true desire, that true want, let's dive into the next video. If this part was helpful, or you got value from this part, make sure you share it with somebody that you care about. Maybe it's a friend, it's a family member. That's all we ask for you guys. Share it with somebody that you know could benefit from them, because it's a trickle effect. It's a spider web. If you know somebody else who's set goals and they've never been able to see any of them through, especially when it comes around January 1st, or any time at all for that matter, share it with them, help somebody out, help a loved friend or family member. And that's all we ask of you guys. Tune into the next one.